What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to do something a little different for you guys and go over some of the gear I use out on the trails to get footage. I'm always working on a budget, so for you guys that want to get into the YouTube stuff and focus more on your Instagram, this is the video for you. I'll let you know what my favorite stuff is, what I've encountered. So let's go check it out. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is a camera. Now, when I first started doing all this, I used primarily my iPhone, which I've now got an iPhone 12 Pro, which I still use for some video and photos. But I also use my Nikon D300S that I've had, honestly, since I was in college, but it still takes awesome photos. So I still use this thing. I would say that's not really your budget-friendly option, but if you already have an SLR, definitely use that with your content. It's really easy now. They make it easy to get all your images up onto your phone, your iPad, whatever you're using to edit with. But if you are just using your phone, honestly, phones nowadays, awesome footage. The reason I switched cameras to use as my primarily recording camera to the DJI is I was having some audio issues with the iPhone and the mic. Every time the wind would kick in, even when I was using the microphone, the external mic, it would like cut out real weird, and you probably saw that in some of my previous videos. So I switched to the current camera I'm actually recording this on, which is the DJI Action Cam, and I haven't had any problems. Some of you I know plenty of people out there that are using their phone, so I don't know, maybe there's some setting I haven't figured out. If you happen to know the issue, leave me a comment down below. I would love to figure that out, because I still love using my iPhone to record stuff. I love my action cams. So I've got a few different options. I have the DJI, I have my GoPro Hero 8, which surprisingly, I cracked the screen on this literally like 2 weeks after I got it, and I don't even know how I cracked it. So I think it got cracked like in the bag. So just be warned, that can happen. It still works perfect. I use it underwater, but we were out at Turner Falls, and I went to go use it, and found out there was a crack. So, alright, so I wanted to show you guys this since I'm actually recording this video on the DJI Action Cam. I'll record this with my iPhone and show you guys. This is the COMICA mic, and this is the DJI camera, and I have a little cage mount on this thing. And another thing with the DJI is you do have to get a little adapter, but I think the GoPro you do too. And when you're running the mic, it won't be waterproof, because you do have to take off the little battery door. But I love this setup. Didn't have any more audio issues after I switched cameras. But this is on my other tripod too. The other nice thing about having a separate camera is you can use your phone to do other things, like I incorporate the Smittyville clinometer app on there on some of my videos to show you guys the degree of the hills that I'm climbing. Kind of a cool thing to integrate. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about, doing videos in the future, that you may want to have two cameras for various things. So another thing to remember when you are getting these GoPros is the battery life is surprisingly bad on these things. I had to get 3 extra batteries just so I don't run out when I'm out on trails and trips. But yeah, I feel like the DJI battery is better. It might just be in my head, but I feel like it's a lot better than these GoPros. These batteries run up super quick. It's crazy how much you pay for these things, and then the battery doesn't last hardly anything. I think these you can pick up for less than $100 a piece. This was like over 300 bucks. I don't remember. So cameras, I would definitely, take into consideration. Yes, you can use your phone, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, to record footage. I prefer iPhones. I always have. I think they take really good photos and videos, and it just works with all my equipment since I use an iPad. All right, let's talk mounts. So when you're out on the trails doing whatever, you got to figure out how to mount, your stuff on the Jeep or whatever, how you want to get footage. So number one thing I would say to get is a tripod. And now this is one of 2 tripods I have. This is the one I keep in the Jeep all the time. I got this off Amazon like I get everything else off Amazon. It's cool because it's compact, it's light, it expands out. And I'll put a link to all this stuff down in the description. The phone mount, it has a little clamp that your phone can go in that goes up here. It was cheap, super cool. The only thing I will say about this is once it's not as sturdy as, your bigger, more expensive tripods, but it gets the job done. You can always put like a rock on these legs to keep it down, whatever. Now, for the action cam specific stuff, if you've ever looked into action cams, they all have crazy amounts of mounts. You can mount these things any way possible. So, one of my favorite mounts is the GoPro suction cup mount. So I can put this thing on my hood, my windows, whatever. And this works with all my cameras because the little mount just clips in there. So it just slides in there, and then, you're ready to go. I got this one a couple months back. This thing's kind of cool because I can clamp it on my roof rack. So this basically clamps down, and then you can adjust all this, and then the camera sits here. So I can get cool shots up in the corner, a little bit different, a little bit farther away from the Jeep than the suction cup mount. This was also, I think, cheaper than this. All this GoPro stuff is a little pricey. So those are a couple of options for point of view shots when you're driving around the trails and you want to get those nice driving shots. Another option, which I don't have here, is dash cams. So dash cams have become a lot more popular nowadays. I use my dash cam all the time to pull footage off from the trails just because it's easy. It's always recording. I don't have to remember to set it up. Whatever. I'll put a link to the dash cam I'm using. The last thing I like to use with my phone specifically is the DJI OM4. Gimbals are kind of cool. They are expensive. This one was less than 200 bucks. It does some really cool stuff that you can set up. It'll do like a panoramic shot where it records a bunch of stuff. It does like a hyperlapse setup. Really cool stuff. Little pricey, but it's a nice setup to get some smooth transition shots. Really easy to use. The DJI app is super easy to use. It works, whether you're using your action cam or your gimbal, all that stuff shows up in the app. It automatically recognizes it. Another feature that I like over the DJI versus the GoPro is the app itself. I find it a lot easier to transfer pictures from the DJI app versus the GoPro. It just seems quicker, easier to navigate, whatnot. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these setups. All right. So the last thing I want to go over is how do you transport all this gear? So, for my action cam stuff specifically, you always have your phone on you, so that's not an issue. But for your action cam stuff, there's usually a lot of different mounts. You might have multiple cameras like I do. How do you want to carry all that stuff? It's a bunch of little stuff. I kind of scrolled through Amazon looking at cases, and I came across this one. It's called the MaxCam case, and I will put a link down in the description for this. But the cool thing about this is it is double-sided. It's also it's got some form to it, so it's kind of a hard case. It's kind of the perfect size. So basically, you've got two sides to this thing. You've got a pouch on each side to keep cords in and whatnot, little tiny mounts. I keep all my DJI stuff on this side because it's my primary stuff. But I could fit my little clamp mount, my light, my little Rode micro mic, the main handle mount I use, which this one's kind of cool. It extends out as a little tripod. And then you can fit extra batteries and whatnot in here. The only downside is my COMICA mic will not fit in here. It's a little big, so I have to carry that separate. But you can just cover that up, zip it back up, flip it over, and like I said, you got another pouch here, and then all your other cameras fit here. The cool thing about this is when you first get it, it comes with all these little foam blocks in here, and you can basically take those out depending on the stuff you're using. So I basically fit everything to form, and it's not like it's basically universal, but you can make it to fit exactly what you have. So cool setup. Check it out. It was pretty cheap. So if you're looking to get into the YouTube stuff, I highly recommend all these products that I've shown you. It'll definitely, set your stuff aside from, your basic person recording from their phone with no mic. So I would say if you're going to buy anything, get a mic. It makes the biggest difference on sound, especially when it's windy outside. I do a lot of outside stuff like I am right now. It's actually a little windy out right now, but the wind cover over the mic really makes a big difference on how the audio is going to sound. So look into that. You can do a really nice setup for around like $300 to $400. You can get all the footage you need, but if you're like me, you always like to add gadgets and whatnot. Remember, I am getting a drone very soon, so that content will be coming probably at the end of May, early June. I've got another video coming up next. I'm going to go over my lift. I keep getting people asking me all the time about my lift, so remember, guys, make sure to subscribe for upcoming videos and hit that bell so you can get notified every time I upload one. So we will catch you guys in the next video.